What up, everyone? You're now tuned into my podcast, Difficult People Chronicles. I'm seriously focused, Johnny, SF Johnny. Today's episode is a Q&A called Blind Dating. Johnny, are you single? Yes. If you are not single, when you were single, did you find it hard to find someone because you are spiritual? Okay, so I am single. Do I find it hard to find someone because I'm spiritual? No, because I just have a lot on my plate. That's number one. But I'm going to answer more of your question more into the episode. Then there's another part that says, if you are single and older, do you feel it like you have hit the wall? No. And then the emailer says, sometimes I feel some kind of way, like I feel a little insecure based off of what people have been saying to me. Like, as you get older, you start to hit the wall. So I don't really pay attention to the whole concept of hitting the wall or words, terminology, whatever you want to call it, because I didn't know what it meant. I heard it, never paid attention to it. So I looked it up on the internet. I don't know how true it is, but this is what was said. It said that when you start losing beauty and youth, you have hit the wall. I don't feel that I've hit the wall. I don't pay attention to certain things in the world. Yes, I'm single. I no longer find it hard to date and being spiritual because I go to God first. If a guy comes up to me and says, Johnny, would you like to go out on a date? And I say yes, sure. I would say, God, tell me who this person is. And lately, what I find is that the person will either be a no call, no show, or something will happen where it just works out for my benefit, where I know exactly who this person is, or God will come to me and tell me about the person and I'll just cancel. There has been occasions where I went on, like, well, one situation where I went on a date with a guy and clearly we came to an agreement it wasn't going to work. We spent our afternoon laughing, eating, acting like fools. We went home separately and it was no bad feelings. Kept in contact, I would say a few times after that, and then that was it. I'm content with who I am. The changing process, I'm content. Meaning that whatever God is doing in my life, I change for God. God comes before man, and I respect that wholeheartedly because I know how powerful He is, I know who He is, and He protects me. I'd rather go under His wing and no one else's. And God told me a lot about those who pursued me, who continue to pursue me, those who I dated in the past. God told me all about them. Told me who was two faced, who was married, who was just wanted to use me. He even came to me and showed me a man who chose someone else based off of worldly pleasures ahead of time. Yeah. And what they all have in common, the gift of the devil, lying, pride, and ego. Not one situation ended up being very well. Not one. When I was younger and not strong in my spirituality, people say ignorant. I don't like to use that because there were people that didn't like to talk about spiritual warfare, and there were those that did but didn't know a lot about it. I don't want to call them ignorant. I just want to say that they need to know more about what was going on. So I didn't know a lot about it like I do today. And then back then I was more worldly. Now things change. Houses, cars, diamond rings, and diamond watches and all that other stuff is cool too, but my peace means more. When you go through a spiritual warfare attack, you go from who cares about all that other stuff. I need to know that that person don't have the demon inside of them. Can we focus on that? I need to know who they pray to, who they believe in, God the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't care how curly their hair is and how handsome they look in a suit or how handsome they look, period. I don't care about all that stuff. I need to know who they believe in first. And I need to have God's approval. Yeah, God's signature stamp that that person is a go. I need to know that that person is not tampering with my life, my business, my dreams, my family, my clients, even my listeners trying to change, and those that I love and care about. I need to know that that person is godly. Yeah. So back to this, that whole saying hitting the wall, I think it's rude and it's not of God. I would say that you have a lot of people who some may say is ugly in the world, but got a loving, godly, kind heart. And somebody will appreciate who they are and how they move. Don't look at yourself as unworthy or devalue yourself. That's the world's doing. The world will say that, oh, you running out of time, you this, you that, and all that other stuff. Don't pay attention to them, because those same people, those same people, they gonna crash and burn. The reason why I called it blind dating is because you never want to date someone blindly, meaning dating them outside of the will of God. Yes, dating them outside the will of God. And along with this Q&A, I have a story to tell, because I've been trying to tell this to y'all for some minute now, but I wanted the consent. And even though I have the consent to talk about the story, like always, just because I changed the names and a little few things, just a little few things. So we're gonna call a person Alexis, and the guy we're gonna call him Six Eyes. And I call him Six Eyes because literally he has glasses. He has his regular eyes. He has a set of glasses, and then he has these lens that go over the glasses. And in reality, he can't see. Don't ask me where I get the name from. I just make them up. So let's focus. I met Alexis first. And I met Six Eyes through my enemy. And I call this person my enemy because they are an enemy. But at the time, we weren't enemies, but we are now because this person be doing things in the cut, spells and all of that, trying to control people, narcissists. The same enemy hooked Alexis up with Six Eyes, and Six Eyes was my hangout buddy at first. In the beginning, we were cool. And then I was going through like a spiritual struggle where I didn't want to change, but it was like this force was forcing me to. I did not really know how to identify what was going on with me, meaning that in the beginning, I thought he was cool, and then slowly I started not to like him. But I was still hanging out with him, but my spirit couldn't tolerate him. So it was just like I felt like I was being two faced, and I couldn't explain it. Why? Didn't want to be that way, but I couldn't explain it. He was the type of person, he seemed harmless. He would look over his glasses when conversing with you, and I always kept saying he's sneaky. Didn't really have any real reasons why he was sneaky, but that one thing, like he looks over his glasses when talking to you. I would have to show you what it looks like, the expression and the glasses and everything. Anyway, Alexis and Six Eyes were secretly dating. And their reason was because they basically wanted to get to know each other. Their family knew they were dating, but the world, like other people, it was on the low. And it was just basically because they wanted to get to know each other. No arguing, no drama, friends all in their business. People do that sometimes. So they thought I didn't know, but I knew. I sensed it. I knew. Like, it was so obvious. Let me tell you how Alexis is. Alexis, before she started dating him, was so bubbly. Like, she is the sweetest person. And he was cool, calm, and collective, and something about him, like I said, didn't like. So they started dating, and I noticed her personality started changing. And then one day she came to me. We were talking about spiritual warfare, things like that. And, I was educating her on some things that I knew. Then I said, I'm going to just have to tell her because I can't hold it in. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I don't know how come, but I'm going to just say something. And I said, Alexis, you and I will always be cool. I think you're a cool person. I think you're a sweetheart. But I can't stand six eyes. I can't stand him. I don't know what it is. I can't. I try to tolerate him. I noticed that my whole personality changes around him lately. Like I went from "What's up?" when we hanging out to "We ain't going no. I can't stand you. Get away from me." Annoying, and I don't know what it is. And I felt good that I got it off my chest. I mean, felt like freedom. Then she lowered her head and whispered and said they're not together anymore. And I didn't want to be happy, but I had a smile on my face. And I was just like, and I'm not jealous. I told her I had to search within myself and ask myself questions like, are you jealous that they're dating? Like, what is it? But I wasn't. I wasn't jealous. I just didn't like him. It was that sixth sense. And she said they're not dating anymore, and you sensed it. And I said, sense what? That he was a cornball? Like, what was it? Because we were cool, but I don't know what it is. I thought it was a me thing. She said the way she explained it, she said some words. I don't remember what the words were. But when working the hotline, because I used to work the hotline where we get certain types of calls, emergency, I picked up on something. And what I said to her is, did he put his hands on you? And she said, yes. No, she said, not like that. I said, what do you mean, not like that? So I pulled it out of her. I said, what? The dude tried to strangle her every time she tried to break up with him. That was on my mind for 2 days because I was like that cornball, that piece of garbage. I had to ask God for forgiveness. And I told her, I said, every time, I would say, I can't stand him, something about him, I had to go to God in prayer and be like, God, forgive me. Because I don't want to be that person and I don't know what it is. And I feel like I didn't have a valid reason for not liking him. It was my spiritual sense that picked up who he was. Just like my spiritual sense picks up on a lot of people. hmm So, she told me that he doesn't believe in God. And I said, do you realize you settled? And she said, yeah. She said, but, in the beginning, he was a nice person. I said, the devil's always a nice person in the beginning. The devil will set you up for failure. The devil is let me tell you something. The way the Bible describes the devil, beautiful. So this person, six eyes, steps out in front of the world and is the sweetest person into the world. But to a person who has spiritual eyes, can see who he really is. So behind closed doors, he is the devil. He's an idiot. He is just a narcissist. We started to talk more and more. I said to her, why didn't you leave him sooner? And she said she was afraid. I said, afraid? And she says, yes. She said every time she tried to leave, he would put his hands on her. Every time she tried to discuss their relationship, it was a struggle. She said that she was really afraid. And I said, you should have called me. I would have showed up with olive oil. And she looked at me like confused. I said, yes. I said, he can't see. He can't see, period. I said, I would have sprayed those glasses with olive oil. That would have been the end of the fight. He would have been afraid of me. I said, that explains why my spirit reacted the way it did. I said, I seen myself act like that maybe one or two times throughout my life like that. And that was when a person came to try to, well, one person tried to harm me. Yes, and my spirit reacted. I said, then another time was with him. I said, every time he jump in front of my face, or even if he's walking towards me, it's like automatic. I would turn around, and it's like my spirit would kick in where I'm just evil towards him. And it's like I really didn't want to be that way, but it was just an automatic. I said, my spirit picked up on who he was. It's that spiritual sense that picked up who he was. I said, girl, when you are a believer, you got to be careful of associating with non believers because yes, your peace will be violated. And there's a lot of other things that will happen. I said, and you can't afford to just sleep with a anybody. He is a anybody. That was the devil right there. And when I was talking to her during that time, I said to her, what came to me was that anybody that is introduced through the enemy is never a good person. So I said to her, and this is what I'm going to say to you all, wanting someone in your life. You delay God's process when you settle for less than what God has. And just because a person is dressed in a suit, wears a pair of glasses, got a nice, what would I say? Got a nice beard, goatee, whatever you want to call it, doesn't mean that's a person that God will present to you. They could be less than what God has for you. Number two, if a person doesn't believe in God, send that person on their way. Because a spiritual person getting with a non believer is going to cause problems where your peace is violated. Number three, it's okay to love, but it has to be the right person. Number four, don't listen to the world. And in your case, when it comes to, people saying, oh, you hit the wall and all this other nonsense, don't listen to the world who says things like leftovers and you too old and you hit the wall, because those same people made their bed. And what their bed looks like is satin sheets, plush pillows, beautiful, even white, all inside a casket. So don't listen to them. And what I said to this person, Alexis, I told her, be happy, because I'm happy for you. Why? Because when karma hit Six Eyes for laying his hands on you, girlfriend, you don't want to really be around him when karma hits him. Karma can leave him bent up, tied up, or in a wheelchair. And that's all I'm going to say. I said, be happy that it's over and you learn your lesson. And that's what I'm going to say to you all. Don't pay attention to people that say things to you, make you feel like you're not a person of value, because those same people forget that they had mothers. They forget that it took two people to get them here. And those same people, they would never want someone to say to their mother that she was a leftover or she hit the wall. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. They wouldn't even like for someone to say that their mother is ugly. They be the first ones having a fit, temper tantrum, falling out, and ready to fight rock and roll. Same people. But they always forget that. That's all I'm going to say today. So for more, sign up for a session. Remember, my sessions are marked down to 20% off. Go to my website and check out my store. Check me out on YouTube. Like, subscribe, click the notification. The downloadable document is still up. Get your copy. And love me more and I love you more. Later.